One of the most common things that comes up in the streaming community is people talking about their cameras overheating while streaming. I'm going to give you 6 tips to make sure that doesn't happen. Today, I'm going to be talking about my Sony cameras because that's what I have, but you'll find these tricks work for many of the cameras on the market. You might have to check your manuals to make sure that these tricks are available to you, but from experience, most of these things will work for you too. So stick around and welcome to Doc Rock Tips. Aloha and welcome to Doc Rock Tips. I am that dude, Doc Rock, just in case you didn't figure that out yet. Today, we're going to talk about some tips that you can use in order to help your cameras from overheating. If you look around in the streaming community, you're in the forums, you're in your Reddits, whatever, a lot of people will talk about their cameras overheating. The ones I see the most, because that's what I'm paying attention to, are like your Sony 6X00s, or say like the ZV-1. I've seen people talk about it with the R5 and the R6 and the Canon cam. I've even heard people talk about it in the M50 cam. I'm gonna give you some tips right now that will kind of sort of help you out. One of the first ones is super easy, so let's get started. Number one, we're gonna wanna just do something like pull the screen away from the body. If you happen to have a camera with a flip screen or a flip out screen, just getting it off the body will allow the body to dissipate more heat. And that can go a long way in keeping your camera from overheating. Now, if you don't have to watch the screen, say you have an additional monitor or you're live streaming and you're not really going to pay attention to the little monitor on your camera, do yourself a favor and turn it off. Many cameras will have the availability for you to turn it off. Number 2, this was going to be really funny. Open the battery door. Sometimes just opening the battery door again allows more heat to come out, and therefore it will keep your camera a lot cooler. I know that's a crazy one, and I know that's simple, and with some cameras your tripod hole isn't going to allow that to work, but just opening the battery door helps out a lot. Number 3, don't record to your camera at the same time you're streaming. There is no need nowadays to record to your camera at the same time you're streaming. I know some people say they want a clean feed without the graphics and the overlay, but if you know your camera's an overheater, you don't really have that option. So the best thing to do is record directly to your computer using a screen capturing software. I use Ecamm. I also use Restream. Restream also keeps a recording of my live sessions as well as Ecamm. And again, remember, you can go to your YouTube or your Facebook oftentimes and pull that video back down. Now, the quality of the recordings directly on the hard drive from Ecamm, which I use, say vMix on the PC or OBS or Streamlabs OBS, will probably be much better than what you will pull from YouTube or Facebook because those have been compressed. You can also record directly to QuickTime if you're just doing a screencast like this. There's many ways to do it, and for the most part, for the stuff that we're going to be repurposing and putting online, there is no need for you to record it to the SD card at the same time. So if you want to make sure your camera doesn't overheat, don't record and stream at the same time. I know it sounds crazy, but it's possible. Mac or PC, it can be done. Number 3.5. If you really want to ball out, get yourself an HD recorder like the Ninja Blade or the Ninja Atmos. In many of these HD recorders like Blackmagic Video Assist as well, you can record there, but that one's going to cost you a little bit more money. So I just thought I'd throw that in there real quick, although it might be out of budget for many folks. Number 4, whenever possible, use an external power supply. Now I'm going to give you a couple options real quick, but check this out. On the Sony cameras, you can actually, while you have a battery like this, the standard W battery inserted, you can put a USB cable in the side and then connect that USB cable to something like this external anchor battery. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour anchor battery. This guy right here by Lit Mobile, this is a 20,000 milliamp hour external battery. The battery that goes inside the Sony camera is only 1,020 milliamp hours. So what happens when you have this guy inserted, as it is draining, it does create heat, but as it is draining, because it isn't draining as fast, it's going to use this to assist. So yesterday I was doing a stream and I started with the battery at 14%. with this external,
Be careful.
With this external battery connected, 45 minutes later, when I was done streaming, the battery was still at 14% because it helps it drain slowly. So if you know you have a long stream, it connect, especially on the Sony cameras, and I'll put the menu systems up here so you can see where to find it. You can basically tell it USB power supply on. If you have USB power supply on, it will help this. This will help this drain. As it's draining, this will back it up. You'll think of it as a reservoir or training wheels or, a push from the buddy kind of system. So that goes a long way in helping. And this will make your streams a lot better, and your camera won't overheat because the battery isn't discharging as fast. What causes heat is rapid battery discharge.
5.
Number 5, this is the common one. Everyone's heard about this, the dummy battery. This is a dummy battery. Now, this particular one is a power junkie made by Blind Spot, and all you do with one of these guys is you stick it into the bottom of the camera and you let it hang down like this. You attach a battery to this particular end. Some of them plug directly into another USB power source or a plug that goes directly into the mains or the wall, however you want to call it. And what that does is it provides a constant power to the camera. There's no heat generated because you're not draining a battery. Well, there's minimal heat generated. All energy produces a little bit of heat. My thing that I happen to love about these power junkie versions is they're extremely versatile. Number one, this has a 1/4-20 thread on the bottom. So if you have rigging on your camera, like I have a small rig cage on my A6400, you can take the 1/4-20 tap and put it on. It also has a standard cold shoe mount where you can put the cold shoe mount plate and mount it directly to the top of your camera. Now, this particular model is going to require an MPF 970, 770, 750, 950, what we used to call L batteries in the Sony game. You basically are just going to pop this guy on, and it requires a little bit of pressure because it's designed not to pop off. And you see the lights come on. I can use this to power the camera. I plug it in, and if I turn this camera on like such, the camera will pop on. Just because I said that, it's coming on. Sorry, it's on. You just can't see. There we go. See? There it is. It's on because I have no memory card in, and so it thinks I want to record a movie. But if I do that, you'll see the camera is on. So, Power Junkie. Now, this comes in a couple of different formats. They have a Canon format, a Panasonic format, a Nikon format. And I happen to like these because it's really rugged. It's small. You can actually charge your iPhone or extra thing. Like say you had a light, something like a aperture or a panel light, an extra monitor. If you have a monitor on top of your camera that you use in order to see what you're doing, you can power those through here. So I happen to like this because this is a really cool way to do it. My other favorite is what's known as a tether tools. Now the tether tool is a little bit more expensive. The kits can get up to about 180, but I gotta tell you the dangers of the dummy battery. It is very common for people to go onto Amazon and buy these $20 and $30 dummy batteries. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you don't do it, but if you do it knowing the risk, okay? I have a buddy who bought one of these cheap dummy batteries, put it in a Sony A6600, a $1,500 camera, and that dummy battery was bad and it fried her camera. Sony wouldn't cover the warranty. The battery covering definitely wasn't going to recover the warranty because for them, that's, 50 of those things. So she was kind of,
I don't even know what that means,
in trouble, so to speak. Had to pay around $250 to get her camera fixed. And all of this would have been avoided if you bought a top quality one. The Sony AEM dummy battery or Sony OEM dummy battery is roughly $130. The original equipment manufacturer version is $130. The Power Junkie combo comes out to about $100. All the links are in the description. And the Tether Tool one comes in between $130 and $180. But if you use any of these, you can pretty much know that your camera is safe. So I'm not a fan of the cheap dummy batteries. Your mileage may vary. If you want to try one of those, go ahead and knock yourself out, but just know what you're getting yourself into. Now, Here's the thing that I talk about a lot. One of the reasons why I prefer to use an HDMI capture device as opposed to the USB cable, if you're using a USB cable to stream, you take this option off the table. You have no choice but a dummy battery. Like the other USB power assist, if you will, is not going to work because, well, you're using that cable for streaming. Some other tips, actually, let's go ahead and make this number 6. Go in your camera and adjust your settings. If your capture device is doing the work, your camera doesn't have to be trying to do a bunch of unnecessary things. Like me, I don't use autofocus. I leave it in manual focus. I don't leave, the screen on all the time. I turn the screen off. Just try to keep the camera in a better position. Maybe you can rearrange your situation so you're not against the window. I know a lot of people like to use the window as light, but then that window is basically heating your camera. So maybe you got to block the back of the camera so that light's not hitting it. There's a bunch of things you can do, but don't get exhausted. The main part of this video is to warn you, if you are going to use one of these cheaper dummy batteries, that you're absolutely careful and you know what you're getting yourself into, okay? Because that will be a world of hurt. Well, basically, that's a quick one. I hope this has been able to help you, especially the people out there in the Sony world. If you have any questions about that stuff I know. Other than that, hit me if you want to. I will answer you in the comments. If you're using a dummy battery or you have any camera overheating problems or camera problems, please write those comments down below and let me know, and I'll do what I can to help you. Now, watch this video over here and see what we could do about getting your stream looking a lot better. Yeah, that one. The one that's popping up on screen right now. Over there. Come on, what are you guys doing? Anyway, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, hit the likes. You know what's up. Aloha.